Sir, ma'am, and everyone present here. Today we are going to present a drama based on the chapter The Book That Saved the Earth. Now I tell the introduction of the author, Claire Boyko. She was born on 17 May 1925 in California. Her main work includes for programs and plays for boys and girls. Now we will see the drama. Welcome to our Museum of Ancient History and to my department Curiosities of Good Old Far of the 20th Century. The 20th century was often called the era of the book. In those days, there were books about everything, from anteaters to Jews. Books taught people how to, and when to, and where to, and why to. They illustrated, educated, punctuated, and even decorated. But the strangest thing a book ever did was to save the earth. Thus, what do they teach children nowadays? They haven't heard about the Martian invasion of 2040. Well, you know, the invasion never really happened because a single book stopped it. What was the book, you ask? A novel encyclopedia? A town about rockets and missiles? A secret files from outer space? No, none of those. It was, but here let me turn on the historioscope and show you what happened in many centuries ago in 2040.
Oh, great mighty think tank, most powerful and intelligent creature in the whole universe. What are your orders?
You have thought part of my salutation, effort is noodle. Go over and whole thing again.
It shall be done, sir. Oh, great mighty think tank, most powerful and intelligent creature in the whole universe. What are your orders?
That's better noodle. I wish to place in communication our men.
See, Master Space Control and the Centerville Public Library.
I have a close sighting of the space crew, sir.
Excellent. Make a voice contact.
Mass space control calling the crew of Probe 1. Mass space control calling the crew of Probe 1. Coming in Captain Omega and give us your location.
Captain Omega, to Mars Space Control, Lieutenant Toyota, Sergeant Troop, and I have arrived Earth without incident. We have taken shelter in this place. Have you ever any idea where we are, Lieutenant Toyota?
I can't figure out it, Captain. I have counted 2,000 of these peculiar items. What do you think, Sergeant Oak?
I haven't a clue. I have been to several places, but I have never seen anything like this. Maybe they are heads. So maybe this is the hypothesis.
Perhaps the great and mighty think tank will give us the benefit of his thought on the matter. Elementary, my dear Omega. Hold one of the items and view it closely. Yes, I understand. The earth creatures are always eating.
Well, the Earthlings certainly have a strange type.
That item in your hand is called a sandwich. A sandwich?
A sandwich?
A sandwich?
Sandwiches are the main staple of Earth diet. They are the two slices which is called bread, and between them is a some sort of filling. That is correct, sir. To confirm my opinion, I order you to eat it. Eat it? Do you doubt the great mighty think tank? Oh no. But poor Lieutenant Iota has not had her breakfast. Lieutenant Iota, I order you to eat it.
Oh, Captain. I am very great honor to be first Martian to eat a sandwich. I am sure, but how can I am so avoid to eat a sandwich before my sergeant? Sergeant, whom I order to you eat sandwich immediately.
Who, Lieutenant? Me, Lieutenant.
For the glory of Marsum,
Yes, of course, immediately.
Value.
Value.
Was it not delicious, Sergeant Toop?
That is correct, sir. It was not delicious. I don't know how the earthlings can get those sandwiches down without water. They are dry as Martian dust.
Sir, great and mighty think tank, I beg your pardon, but an insufficient bit of data and flooded into my mind about those sandwiches.
I can't be worth much. Give your tripping bit of data.
Well, sir, I have seen surveyor films of those sandwiches. I noticed that the earthling did not eat them. They used them as some sort of communication device.
Naturally, this is my next attempt. Those sandwiches are not for eating. These are for communication. Think tank is never wrong. Who is never wrong?
Great and mighty think tank is never wrong.
Therefore, I order you to listen to them. Listen to them.
Listen to them.
Do you have marbles in your ears? I order you to listen to them. It shall be done, sir.
Do you hear anything?
Nothing. Do you hear anything, Hope?
Not a thing.
Well, report to me. What do you hear? Nothing, sir. Perhaps we are not on the correct frequency.
Nothing, sir. Perhaps the earthlings have sharper ears than we do.
I don't hear a thing. Maybe these sandwiches don't make sounds.
What? That somebody suggests the great mighty think tank had made a mistake? Oh no, sir. No, sir. We will keep listening.
Please excuse me, your brilliance, but a cloudly information and around it's my head.
Wait till it out, noodle.
I seem to recall that the earthling did not listen to sandwich. They watched them and
Sandwiches are not for ear communication. These are for eye communication. Captain Omega took that a large colorful sandwiches and view it closely and tell me what you observe. It appears to contain pictures of earthling.
There seems to some be code.
Code? It was important for us. Describe that code.
It's little lines and the squiggles and dots. Thousands of them alongside the pictures.
Perhaps the earthlings are not as primitive as we have thought. We must break that code.
forgive me your cleverness, but did not the chemical department give our people a space vitamin to increase their intelligence?
Stop. A thought of magnificent brilliance come to in my mind. Our space people, our chemical department give you vitamins to increase your brilliance. It shall be done, sir. Remove vitamin, present vitamin, swallow vitamin. Excellent. Now decipher that code.
It shall be done, sir.
Aha.
Oh ho.
Ha ha ha.
What does it say? Tell me this instant. Yes, sir. Mistress Mary Point Contrary, how does your garden grow with copper cells and silver bells and pretty maids all in a row?
Haha, imagine that pretty maids go in a garden.
Stop. This is no time for levity. Are you don't serious about those discovery? The earthlings have discovered how to combine their agriculture and mining. They can grow crops of rare metals such as silver. The next code Iota describe.
Yes, sir. Here diddly, the cat in the fiddly, the cow jump over the moon, and the dog laughed to such a spot, and the geese ran away with the spoon.
The geese run away with the spoon.
Cease laughter, Dennis. This is more and more alarming. The earthlings have reached a high level of civilization. They have taught their domestic animal and music culture and a space technique. And they may be launching an implementary attack of millions of cows. No invasion today. Sergeant 2 describe that next code.
Yes, sir. Humpty Dumpty sat on the ball. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men cannot put Humpty Dumpty together again. Oh, look, sir, here is a picture of Humpty Dumpty. Why, sir, he looks like?
It's me. It's great mighty think tank who have balloon brain and thereafter had a great fall. The earthlings have seen me and the earthlings have discovered the Mars invasion. Noodle, give me a space capsule. I will leave Earth today, and all space people will leave Earth today and remove all the traces where you visit.
Where shall we go, sir?
100 million miles away from the Mars.
That's how one dusty old book of nursery rhymes saved the world from the Martian invasions. As you all know, in the 25th century, 500 years after all this happened, we Earthlings resumed contact with Mars. We even became very friendly with the Martians. By that time, great and mighty think tank had been replaced by a very clever Martian, the wise and wonderful Noodle. Oh yes, we taught the Martians the differences between sandwiches and books. We taught them how to read too, and we established a model library in their capital city of Marsopolis. But as you might expect, there is still one book that the Martians can never bring themselves to read. You have guessed it, Mother Goose. Thank you.